This is day 44 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Today is the Arukh HaShulchan Siman Chav Zayin Sif Vav. No, Siman Chav Zayin Sif Yud Gimel to Siman Chav Zayin Sif Chav. Please contact me if you would like to sponsor a day or a week of an upcoming Arukh HaShulchan Yomi Shir. Yud Gimel. Yesterday we spoke about Chatzitza and how Arukh HaShulchan says there can't be a chatzitza between the tefillah or the ritzua, it would seem, and although the ritzua actually we didn't speak about. We just talked about the chatzitza, the bayis of the tefillin, and the flesh of the arm. Therefore, I'm astonished that the person wants to be lenient in the shalyat when a person has a wound on the kibores and there are rags covering the wound, but he can put the shalyad on top of the rags. Because as there's not a problem that is for you, it should be for you a sign, not for others a sign. Because you're wearing another garment on top of the tefillin. Even though there's the chatzitza beneath the tefillin, but still only the cholos because there's a garment on top of the tefillin. This is brought down by Avram. This is the Talmud for Rashi Zal. This is the reason for Rashi. Mehai Taima Mistapika Rashba B'Shorosh, and therefore the Rashba is unsure about the Shorosh. Aval Ana the Kaimo Lun Karosh. We that believe that it's not because of Chol Os and not Lacherem Os, but rather Shor Davar Chodetz Men Fil Yodo. There should not be any interruption between the tefillin and your hand, because a yadcha. Vale also it's also be a chatzita. Mr. Bura writes that if he has a makkah in that place where he puts on the bias, and the makkah extends to the entire kibores, you can put the tefillin on the bandage. It's not possible otherwise, but now you can't make a bracha on it. You make 2 brachas on the shorosh. But also in that case, he says to cover the Magen Avram, you should put another garment on top of the tefillin shiyada in order to cover them. So again, so it's the chol os l'lachem l'os. Back to the Arukh HaShulchan. It seems so you made the matir to such a person who has bandages on his kibores. To put it on the upper arm, above halfway, above the kibores. Like we wrote the end of Sif Dalet. Even that which the Ramah writes, that the specific problem is with the bias of the tefillin. On the Ritzuos, it's not a problem. The greats argue upon him. They hold the guy even between the Ritzuos and the flesh, there should not be an interruption. That's from the bush. And that is the custom, and one should not deviate from the minhag. Mr. Bura writes that Ronim wrote also that you can only be lenient in the place of the wrappings, meaning the lower arm. But that of the part of the rule which is connected, which is relevant to the tying, which is the upper arm, you have to be machmir with the rituals, whether shalyad or shorosh. If he has a wound, however, on his head, place where the ritzuos would be lying, not the bais, he's allowed to put the ritzuos on top of those rags which are on the wound, or on on top of a thin hat, and make the bracha, even though there's a chatzitza between the separation between the straps and his head. Also, he has a wound on the shalyad, even a place which is where the knot goes around his arm. He's allowed to put on the circumference of the knot on top of the rags and make a bracha. But with this, you should be careful again to cover the tefillin with another covering, so it should be the cholos, the lo lacherem os. So Mr. Bura actually comes up more lenient here. Yudal. Mikom kol nevos chasav Rabbeinu Beis Yosef B'Sif Hey the Adam Shu'alu Lenezilus, a person who is likely to have head coats. Klomar sheyesh lo ka'eb barosh, ve'eno yochel legalos harosh. He has a pain in his head. He can't he leave his head uncovered. Yitzchak leniach tefillin shel rosh harosh atzmo leinichem klal. And if he puts the tefillin shel rosh on his head directly, he won't put them on at all. Yesh latil leniach tefillin shel rosh al kol badak. You allow such a person to put the tefillin shel rosh on a thin hat, samuch larosh, adjacent to the head. V'chasem, and cover them mipnei aroim, because the people might see and make mistakes. And it's okay that way. B'ilchatchila. The Shmuel writes the name of the Bachna was Tamid that at least during Kriyas Shema Tefillah there should not be any chatzitza whatsoever. Even that kovadak, even that thin cap. Back to Arukh HaShulchan, Menichem B'derech said people put on film this manner, Lo Yivarech Al Shel Rosh, they should not make the bracha on the Shel Rosh. Like Yivarech Al Yad Shel Laniach, they should just make the bracha Laniach on the Shel Yad Ad Kal Shana. In fact, there's this leniency, both in Hadas or Rashba, is based on the opinion of the Rashba. Shem Mistapik was that it was not clear about this, K'mosh Kasav, and Nadu, like we're in some Sifim Gimel. Ava Rosh, Ein Shum Heter B'zeh, B'torachir, according to Rosh, there should be no heter. So it's not clear why should we be macho in these circumstances. Fulai, perhaps came to look at Le'nichem Kal, perhaps because the alternative is not to put them on at all. Mutav Le'nichem, Echshu, it's better to put on no matter what way you can. But it's difficult to open up such a leniency. The Mishnah Berurah again is more lenient here. He says that since he's honest, since he has no choice, he can rely on the Rashba who holds that there's no problem with chatzitza. Okay. Back to the Arukh HaShulchan. The person has dirt on his head. It also has I skipped. V'da, the kina mesa, a dead louse. All the reasons go to lice check. So that's an interruption. And that Mishnah writes, came into onus. No, not that. He says, excuse me, it's probably careful with chatchila, even bikina chaya, even with a live louse, that there shouldn't be one there. It shouldn't be a hefsek between the tefillin and the flesh. A dead louse is, however, even worse. Okay. Somebody writes over v'chein. If you have dirt on your head, it's also a chatzitza. Mr. Berurah writes, it's proper in terms. What? Interesting. In terms of time, it's kishamim. When everyone puts ashes on their head, place their nachas tefillin. This is no. Sorry, actually not called Mr. Berurah. It says Arukh HaShulchan. Simon Tuf Kufay test Z base. As soon as the time is Gushamim, when everyone puts Ephah on their head, place them in Achas Tefillin, I guess we have to wait till we get there. The Mishnah Berurah writes that the ashes are put there before Shachris. So he ends at Tzorchim. What happens to the ashes during davening? If it's chatzitza or not a chatzitza? Okay, back to Arukh HaShulchan. It's you have to clean the place that the tefillin shel rosh is going to go. Okay, you should comb that place so it'll be clean. So here's the smach for a Talmid Chacham to carry a comb. I remember many years ago when I went to visit my grandfather's friend, Zvulun Garage, who was the base in Rehovot. And he was a real Telsus, Labodka, Chevroner. And when he went out to go to shul, carefully adjusted his kapota and his tie, and he took out a comb from his pocket and combed his hair. So it struck me as, that's Gadlus Adam. But maybe it was Mincha. It was not going to put on tefillin. But here it says that before you put on tefillin, you should comb your hair. Some people who say that the hair is very long, it's a problem. In the yeshivas, they claim that it's a blorit, and it's a problem in chatzitza, but in fact, the blorit is actually a ponytail, not the front of the head. The only Rebbe says Shumatam. So the Arukh HaShulchan says, I don't see a reason. Make a length of hair, but there are the mashgichim in the yeshivas who use this as a excuse to get people to take a haircut. What kind of boundary, or what limit, what shuma can you give to the seir? The seir rosh, etzem rosh dami. It has like the head. Maybe has some sort of ponytail which loops the loop. It goes around and around. So it goes underneath the place where you're going to put the tefillin. That could be definitely considered chatzitza. And with Sarah TV, with natural hair which grows in that spot is long, it's not a problem. And this is clear, and there's no reason to be in doubt about this. I think a big shayla is toupees. I don't think it's a shayla. I'm not sure what the heter is. I just have seen people who do wear it on top of their toupee. I don't know what the heter possibly is. Mr. Brewer writes that Mr. Brewer is more machmir on this, on long hair. And he says there's an issur nachas for long hair. Because since the hair is very long, you can't say it's the normal growth, and it's a chatzitza. And even if it's not a chatzitza, you have long hair, you cannot be precise and make sure children are secure and held in place on the proper place. So the Mishnah Berurah is more lenient on it, more machmir on hair than the Arukh HaShulchan, and the Arukh HaShulchan seems is the mainstream psak. Tesvav, you should know. The afagav, even though the Shayad Omer Chazal L'chol Osor Chemos, it's supposed to be for you a sign, not for others for a sign. And it really doesn't mean you have to cover the Shayad. That's not the meaning. The kavanah rak mokom l'cholos means rather it's supposed to be in a place where it would be only for you a sign. That's supposed to be more menachos. Shorah is supposed to be seen by everybody. Like it says, all nations will see the name of God is called upon you. It doesn't mean it's forbidden to cover them. You have to cover them with talis or something else. The Torah is only concerned with the place that they're on the head. Somebody has some sort of wound in the head or a pain in the head, so then you can put the rosh on and cover it. Rosh on his head and on the rosh together. And this is the psak of the Gedolim. Tess is Zion. Halacha l'maisa for Beckhofer. Ito yad yamino, somebody who's a lefty. He might say, "Kol melachto b'smol," does all his work with left. Meniach b'smol, puts his hand on the left hand. Shuyamin shkolim, which is the right of everybody else in the world. Mishnah Berurah writes, even if it's rov melachto, not just kol melachto, most of his work he does. Obviously, as you may know, scissors are made for righties. There are very few lefty scissors. Scissors are in the marketplace. Ditto with can openers, so most lefties, including myself, get used to the discrimination, and we use right-handed can openers and other implements of that sort. But so if a roll malachto, obviously it would be the case, because it would be funny. I can't even cut with left-handed scissors because I'm so used to cutting with right-handed scissors. Okay, so anyway, so back to Arukh HaShulchan was small. You put it on in your left hand, which is everybody else's right hand. That's who Ava Yad Zukeh. By him, that hand is the darker or weaker hand. You should be saying if you're ambidextrous. Then it shows understand B'koach Shabei, he was both them with equal power, equal strength. Both showing Shumi Som is more, so that his left hand is no better than his right hand. Miach B'smok Shekol, then we put it on the left hand of every other human being. Anytime you have an advantage at the left hand over the right hand, so you put it on your right hand, which is the more weaker for him. Obviously right as a righty, but everything else to do is lefty. Right with us lefty, everything else to do is a righty. Some will say you go after his activities. So you put by the hand which is weaker in terms of activities. Yeshim, some will say, Sholchim Achar Ksivi, go after the writing, Mishum Ksiv Kshatar Muksaftam. It says you should tie and you should write. But Yachkasi Boy Yamin, the hand you can write is the right hand. Minach Bacheres, you put it on the left hand, and the other hand, Bacheres. The primary halacha is like the first opinion, which is that you go after his masim. Because the drasha of the Yad Keah, the weaker hand, is halacha. As also the drasha linking kshira to ksira, near the b'shasha halacha to the shasha, that is not the mainstream halacha. With brackets here, so Rashi B'daflam and Zion Tili Dahach the Yad Keah. Well, Rashi holds his drasha of the weaker hand. For the Bryce and Plea Tana Kam Rabbi Yossi Hachorei, for Rabbi Nasa and Yudar Shukshata Muksafta. These are Rabbi Yossi Hachorei and Svili Rabbi Nasa. That's the Chem Dochola. For the Bad Halacha Tana Kam of Yulos Svili Rabbi Nasa and Tana Shukshata Muksafta Halacha. It is a halacha in Yad Keah, the weaker hand. The Mishnah Berurah said in the Bia Arukh brings down the sheet, so the place he writes that the Gra determined the opinion which holds that we don't go after writing. Therefore, he writes in his right hand and does everything else with his left hand. He puts it on his right hand, but he does write a hamletza, a milim b'tzchus on the belt. That holds that even according to the first opinion, that's only when the hand with which you write cannot do anything else except write. But if that hand you can do other activities, but it's easier for you on the other hand, that's called ambidextrous, according to everybody. And since the second hand, on the other hand, you can't write at all. Each hand has its own advantage. So therefore, it's the first hand you can write. And the second hand you can't write at all. First hand you do some activity. Second hand you do most activity, you go after the right. The writing hand becomes the right, and the other hand becomes the left. Okay. I know I once had a Talmud in my shir who put tefillin on. Was it him? His father? I don't remember. Somebody who put on his tefillin. No, I think it was his father. Who put tefillin on both hands because he was totally ambidextrous and he got upset that to put on. A part of the tefillin shayar on one hand, and part of the tefillin shayar on the other hand. So we had 3 tefillin, 1 tefillin shorosh, 2 tefillin shayar. Okay, back to the Arukh HaShulchan. Yud Zayin, Iter Shenich B'Smosh Kol Adam Lo Yotza. Rebecca offered to place tefillin on his left hand, he would not be Yotzei. Yesh Lokim, some people argue, and Eikan, they're wrong. The Iter Tzorich Lish All Hatim and Iter. So what happens, I discussed this yesterday, it's a problem. When you borrow tefillin from a non-eater, so Yapach HaMabarto L'Tzad Chutz, he holds, actually, not like I did, I've done in the past, that you take the Ma'avarta, the place where the strap goes, and you put it to the tefillin, and you put it outward. In order to make sure that the knot comes towards your body. So the Ma'abarta is going to be up here, the tefillin is going to be up here, and so the kesher is going to be over here. Okay, so that is important to know, right? If you put on the normal way, the Ma'avarta towards the upper arm, so then your kesher shel b'tzagufo. And now it's going to be not towards his body. And that is not allowed in any way, shape, or form. But on the place where the strap goes through, it doesn't matter so much if it's facing up or facing down. And so too, some Israel brought some lefty. Ya'asakain, to turn the ma'avarta upside down in order that the kesher should be towards the body. Wow. Normally, a person who's a lefty, it's because he was born this way. But if you habituate yourself to be a lefty, if you're considered to be a lefty or not. The bracket of Rishon brings down the Avram brings down from the Mordechai 2 opinions. The Ram Darkei Moshe says that even if you train yourself to be a lefty, you're also considered lefty. And certainly if he was born that way, with a weakness on his right side, everybody agrees that he's a lefty. And some people say that also something whose hand was cut off he says, he wants to say says they're not comparable to each other. So two Mishnah Berurahs here. One, Mishnah Berurah writes, you made yourself, accustom yourself, habituate yourself to be a lefty, same thing, you put on your right hand. So much more direct than your Arukh HaShulchan. And Steve Choton Chav Zayin, he writes, another place he writes, so he writes his left hand and does all the rest of his work with his right hand, that if he was not born that way, but only afterwards accustomed himself to write his left hand, and everything else he remains doing with the right hand, he puts in the left of every person, not his own unique left hand. The Shmuel says that if they accustom from Shamayim, of course, you go after the way they accustom him, and or if his hand was cut off his right hand, and he has to oz malacha with left hand, he definitely has the din of an iter gomor, and he puts his hand on the damaged hand. So with nikta yodo, the Arukh HaShulchan himself said, who I think the other with his hands cut off, that he's considered to have switch capability, but the Mishnah Berurah says that that's not considered a switch capability, and evidently, according to the Arukh HaShulchan, you continue to put on the hand, which even even if you became a lefty through a damaged hand, you would still put on the left hand. According to Mishnah Berurah, if you became a lefty through a damaged hand, you would put tefillin on the right hand. Okay, interesting machlekes, which would have to have big enough meaning l'maisa. Yudches, Abi sheyesh lo'adam maka u'b'makom malchus tefillin. Even though a person has a wound in the place he puts on tefillin, yoniach tefillin should put the tefillin on. Ki makom yesh kiboros l'niach shtei tefillin, because there's room in on the kiboros for two pairs of tefillin. Ki etzem asam l'beis ha'shechim michat yor kuvdu, because the bone which is next to the armpit from halfway up to the halfway down, the upper arm from the halfway down to the elbow, in place where the skin, the flesh is bloated. So if the wound reaches to half of that, you can put in the half which is opposite the body. You must be on a sub $7. He said there's Malcolm Kiboros between two tefillin. In the brackets he says, you can't, one second. Sorry, let's go back to the thing when I got interrupted. That's why I paused the recording. So, he says in the brackets, there should be a sound which says beginning of Parak Motzi Tefillin. Mokan yesh barosh l'neach shtei tefillin. That it says there's a place in the head to put on two tefillin. Yesh yoser in kosher kol etzem. There should be more than that if it's kosher in the entire bone, which I assume it's the entire skull in this case. I'm not sure. The body kenu. Not sure that's his question. Could be he's asking that on the arm. Why we say only Makam Sheyesh Barosh if there's also in the Shalyad? I'm not sure what he's asking. Anyway, he says Vare Kenu. Dimah the Rosh Kamar. It's saying like the head. Kidu Amar Rab Shmuel Vayitzak Makam Yesh Barosh Agnai Makam Yesh Bayad. I guess the question was why it says only Makam Yesh Barosh for two tefillin. I think it's just, again, I'm not sure, but I think he's asking, I can say Makam Yesh Barosh only for two tefillin. The whole bone over here, the whole right on top of the skull is okay, so there's place for more tefillin. So he says, it's true, but Dumi the Rosh Kamar. No, I think that's what it is. It sounds like it's a typo here. So really, be there's more than over here. There's more place for two tefillin. The entire bone, really, the entire upper arm is a makom tefillin. But I can't. Of course, it's place in the arm for more than two tefillin. Dumi the Rosh Kamar. But we're saying, we're drawing a parallel to the Rosh, where there's two specifically placed for two pairs. Well, actually, Shabbalisa says, Makar Rosh is Tate Tefillin. Achinami Makar Yesh Bayad. Your test. Arukh HaShulchan OC. The length of the Ritzur Sheyad Kadesh Taki Bes Hazra has to be enough to let me check that we actually have to do all this. Yeah. Wow, there's a long share today. Sorry. After your test, we have to do, including Chaf. Arukh HaShulchan OC. The length of the Ritzur Sheyad Kadesh Taki Bes Hazra is enough to surround the Zroa. The arm. Show me ma menakeshen to tie from it. To then be still reach and be tied around the middle finger. To make 3 wraps in the middle finger. 1, 2 in the lower knuckle, 1 in the middle knuckle. The Shabbat says, some say that first you do the one in the middle knuckle, and then afterwards the 2 in the lower knuckle. Whatever way you do it, it's fine. And v'yikshor and tie. Was tie if it's talking about tefillin shiach l'mashitcha v'ritzua to stick the strap into itself, but this guy in a way in which it's going to be able to not unravel. The custom is to have 7 wraps on the lower arm. 7 words in the pasuk b'seiches yadecha u'masbir chol chai ratzon. Gomer kasser rabbeinu Ramah v'sivches ein likroch ratzon al titura tilchas kol al hayad. You shouldn't wrap the ritzua on the bias in order to strengthen its position on the arm. Akal l'shono. Mr. Brewer says the minhag is to put on the shorosh before you do the krichos on the arm. Some people say that you can do the krichos on the bias temporarily, at least, in order that the tefillah sheyad should not move until after you put on the shorosh. And afterwards, you remove the ritzua from on top of the tefillah sheyad, and you wrap the 7 wraps on the forearm. Somebody whose sleeves are narrow and the tefillin move because of his sleeves, you can also wrap around the bias in order to hold it firm in place. But Arukh HaShulchan is against that. You shouldn't have to tell. Yes, the reason Arukh HaShulchan gets that is because the bias is holier than the strap. You can put the lighter kedusha on the more stringent kedusha. They make 3 wrappings on top of the passage where the strap goes through the tefillin. But you can make the same like a shin. And the reason seems to be minagari. But some of the argues on this, the greatest from his Talmim, Reb Chaim Vital. So Reb Chaim Vital, Bob Becham, Reb Chaim Vital came to in a dream to his son. From Elon, he told him, Shelo Yasekach. Should not do this. Kamosh Kosev Ashar Yitshuba, Siv Kod Tazor B'Shem Kam Gdorei Sfarad. Avam Elon, he said to him, Shema Shekosu Shama Kain, that which says there to do that, Eino Me'ariza El Me'chaverim. Wasn't a reason, but from the buddies. The kind of Shem Kain, there's several other Indian like that as well. Much custom of everyone's going to be out of the Shas Anacha. Yaniach Elov HaRitzua Shlotozu Ya'ad Yaniach Shorosh Ayin Sham. That which only Abraham said something similar to what we said in the name of Mr. Brewer before. That it's one way that they should hold the everything tight. So you get back to it after Shorosh. That's going to their minhag that they put the shorosh on before the 7 wrappings of the forearm. Well, if you mean again, since you put the 7 wrappings on the forearm first, anyway, the tefillin is adhering to its proper base. The place where you put the shorosh is from where the hair starts growing on the forehead. Now, and I'm already quite bald. Originally it was down here somewhere. Now it's up here. But this somewhere down here would have been the original place. Mishabura says it's best to put the tefillin above there, because there's a place and they had to put the tefillin. And in order that it shouldn't fall lower on the forehead, put it higher than the actual lowest hairline. So continuing on, it's over Makom face. So the end of the soft spot in the child's head, which is somewhere up here. Klomer meaning Shu bench on the place where it's soft until he's a year old. The halacha says there's machlekes if the meaning is that all of the top of that is considered part of this, or only half of that. So therefore, it's best the tefillin should not be too big, in order not to extend too far back, because then it's going to go much further back on the let's call it the Gov Rosh, but it's not really the Gov Rosh according to halacha. Okay, back to the Arukh HaShulchan. But see how it says Beni Necha Lamanu Mikorcha. We learn from scratching the flesh on a dead body. The there can't be that the ripping, which includes ripping the hair, is between the eyes. There's no hair to rip. And so it's the place where the roots of the hair, which is higher up. So it's got to be on the brain opposite the place between the two eyes. She warned the masses of Kocha concerning this. Because we saw that with our own eyes, many people, and it's true still today, will at least have the tefillin on the forehead. Woe unto that embarrassment. They never fulfill mitzvah tefillin in their lives. The brachos are brachos of Torah. Their punishment is great. This has to do with having too big tefillin and a loosening of the knots. Also, many people mistakenly more to say that the place where the hair stops flying down, when it's lying down, I can really see my bald spot right down here. So theoretically, if that was where now that's above the original hairline, but that was below the original hairline. So the okay, that's not true. It's a place where the roots begin to grow. There are people, many shuls have somebody like this who go around and check other people to make sure their shorosh is in the proper place, and if it's not, they fix it to be proper. This has happened to me. Baruch Hashem, people come over to me, specific person I have in mind. When I was teaching MTA, used to come over and fix people's tefillin. Ashra v'toivloi, because most people don't know how to do it on their own. So they fix the Oskarei, but Asher Chelkom is Schar and Golem Mode. They have great schar for their efforts.